Welcome to Designer Digitizing Patterns. Designer is new software that exports PDF patterns to a printer, manage patterns virtually, edit and email patterns to customers and clients, size patterns to measurements, and sign up an iDesigner account today. Thanks.
What we're going to do now is we're going to use the grading tools to adjust the length of a pattern piece. Here is pants back, and I'm going to apply a control point measurement to add length or shorten length depending on your measurements that you've entered into the size chart here. And what we're going to do is for this pattern block, we're going to use the outseam measurement that we took. For the outseam, I've got 8. And so what I want to do is I want to set that to this existing pant because it fits 8-inch outseam. So if we have them all with a 9-inch outseam, then these points on this pattern block will then lengthen to the correct length for the pattern piece, which is power of the control point based grading system in Designer. So how do we go about setting the control points, then adjust this pattern block later when we go to print it and then sew it? Well, what we're going to do, for this case, we're going to use the outseam measurement, but you could easily use the inseam measurement or any one of the 26 measurements. Of course, you want your measurement to relate to the point, as the outseam or the inseam would relate directly to how long you want your pattern piece to be. For this, in this case, it's a pants back. And of course, you'd have to use the same control points in the other matching piece, which would be, of course, the pants front in this particular case. Now, what I've done is I've set for point 1 the outseam as the Y measurement. If we go over to point 2, you can see that I haven't adjusted that yet. And I'll show you why, because I want to show you the difference, because when we change the measurement for the outseam, what happens to this pattern block, and then we're going to correct it, you'll see how you can apply the control points to make the modifications when you're designing a garment. Let's take a look at this in the PDF plotter. It loads up that pattern block, and we'll just hit OK. And we're just going to give it a color so we can see it better on the video. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the outseam, which was the control point I used before, and then I'm just going to click size. It's actually lengthened it on this side, but it's ignored it on this side because we didn't set the Y for the outseam. Now let's go back. Let's go ahead and we'll load up that pattern piece again to set the control point for point number 2 of our pattern block to adjust for the outseam measurement. If I select point number 1, that the outseam is set for Y, and if I go to point number 2, you can still see it's set for height and height, both on the X and the Y. So how we set the outseam, click on the point, and by clicking on that, that will set the Y to the outseam measurement, so that it knows now when the outseam measurement changes from what you input in the measurement chart, then it will adjust the pattern piece accordingly. Just to show you that we select point number 3, the X and the Y are both height measurements, and then when we go to point 2, we now have the outseam. Now, for this to work in the PDF plotter, we have to save the file, of course, and then what we'll do is then we'll just click on the PDF plotter, and that will load up that pattern piece, and we'll color that green this time and select OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the outseam to 9 inches, and we're going to click size, and now we have regraded this pattern piece to have the length for your own patterns. Try that in your designer. Thanks, and bye for now.